Hi, Cougars. It's me, Mrs. Webb. I'm here all by myself. My grandson couldn't help me with this experiment, but I hope you can. So today, I have a question for you. What can you make out of milk? Cheese? Ice cream? How about plastic? It's true. You can make milk plastic. In fact, in the early 1900s, they used to use it as a plastic to make toys or belt buckles or even buttons. So some of the first buttons were made out of milk plastic. So I have a list of vocabulary words for this experiment. So this experiment is coming to you again from Science Buddies. And I've added the exercise sheet and everything and all the materials that you'll need for this along with this video. So one of the things, plastic, what is it? It's something that takes the shape. It usually goes from a liquid and then hardens into a solid. So you're going to have to add something to your milk, of course, to make it change. And we call that a chemical change. So we're actually going to change milk, and it's no longer going to be milk. It's going to be something new. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, the molecules, so that's going to be one of your vocabulary words, are going to create a strand. And the milk plastic we're going to be creating is called casein milk and plastic. And it has a really hard quality. So some of the things, I created my materials list. I've got let's see if you can see them. Turn my table just a little bit. So I've got my 4 mugs. They need to be about a 1 cup capacity. They need to be labeled 1, 2, 4, and 8, and I'll explain that a little bit more when the experiment. You also need 4 of the jars. I like the peanut butter jars that I usually get my peanut butter in. I find they make really good science jars and lots of other things. But you can use just any old jar or something that will hold about a cup's worth of capacity. So I've got my masking tape, my marker. So you'll need masking tape, marker, teaspoon. So I've got my teaspoon right here. White vinegar. It comes in this, but you need only about 8 ounces. So you can get a big thing of it, or if you have a small one, that's okay too, but it needs to be white vinegar. Milk. So I used up all of my milk. It's all gone. So for this experiment, to do the full experiment, you need about 12 cups, which is going to be about a half a gallon. So I had a half gallon, and that's what I used. Any kind of milk will work, 1%, 2%, even skim milk. I happen to have whole milk because that's what my family likes to drink. So that's what I used. Microwave measuring cup. So it needs to be, so you can put it in the microwave and get it really hot. And I'm going to show it to you in just a minute what I've got. It needs to be able to hold about 4 cups. Candy thermometer. A candy thermometer looks like this, and it's used to measure how hot you need to get it for candy. And this is a really good thermometer to use. And I'll show you how that is working for us in just a moment. And also it holds on to the side. Spoons, cotton cloths. So your cotton cloths need to look, so I took an old t-shirt of my son's and cut it up, and you're gonna need between 4, 8, or 12, depending on how many times you wanna run this experiment. I did 12 because I've done it 1 time. I'm gonna do it 2 times, maybe 3 times to see how it works. So clear containers, a scale, and we're going to use our scale to measure our how much plastic we get based on the variable that we add, and wax paper. The wax paper, just any old wax paper, but you need enough, like 12 pieces if you're doing it 12 times, and you need enough that covers your scale. Okay, so I got all of my tools, all of my supplies ready, and so let's get started. So I've already started a little bit of this experiment for you so that it wouldn't take so long to show you how it works. So first of all, I took my milk, I put it in my container, I put 4 cups in, and I heated it up at 50% power for 5 minutes, tested it. It wasn't quite ready because your milk needs to be around 160 degrees to work. So between 140 and 160 works really well, but no cooler than 140. So 160 is what I got it to last time. I heated up at 50% for 5 minutes. It wasn't hot enough, so I did it for 10 minutes, and it was perfect. So then the next step you need to take, and this is all included in your step-by-step guide, the next step you need to take is you need to take your vinegar. And so I have labeled my cups with a 1, 2, 4, and 8. So I have 1 teaspoon of vinegar in this cup that I'm going to put in. And I've already filled the other ones, so that I just wanted to show you only 1 cup. So I have 1 teaspoon in this cup. I have 2 teaspoons in this cup, 4 teaspoons, and 8 teaspoons. Okay, now, because this is an activity that includes some really hot liquid, you're going to need an adult to help you. So adult needs to heat this up, and an adult probably needs to help you pour. Then you're going to take your milk, your hot milk, and pour it into each cup. What are we looking for? So I want you to make a prediction here. What do you think is going to happen to your milk when you pour it into your cup? What are we looking for? So we're looking for some kind of change and to happen. Is it the same in every cup? So once I get it poured into all 4 cups, try to get as equal amounts. And I didn't get quite as equal this time as I did last time. So try to get equal amounts of milk in each cup. So it does change if you don't have quite the same amount. All right. Then with each of your clear cups, they should be labeled on the front with the same number of teaspoons of vinegar that you put in your cups. I found through trial and error, the best way is to kind of make a little nest in the middle of your cup, and then to take your rubber band to put over the top, just to hold it down, and make sure you've got enough so that when you pour your liquid into your cups. So this needs to set for a minute and kind of let it do its job and kind of look at it and see. You can see, like, I know for me, I don't know if you've ever done this, but pulled out your milk to smell it, to see if it smells okay and if it looks okay. This smells okay, but it looks really interesting. So something is definitely happening within these cups. It looks similar. All of them look similar, but we're going to see what happens, and that's what these are for. These are going to help us to observe once we get it poured. So the next step is to take your same number, and I'm going to start with the number 1 cup. So this has my number 1 on the front, and I'm going to pour the 1 teaspoon. Ooh, that was close. So I'm going to set these down in my sink so that they do not spill while pouring, so that you can see. Because it's really important that you be able to see this experiment as well as do, because this is really cool. All right, so I take my number 1 cup that I have labeled, and I just carefully pour it and try to spill as little liquid, but some of it might come out. What you're looking for is what color is the liquid as it runs through the cloth and what is left on top of the cup. It takes just a minute, and you're going to have to pour probably a little bit slowly to get it to go in and kind of seep through. And as you can see, the milk is running through the cloth into. This one looks pretty much like milk. I'm going to give that one a minute before I finish pouring to kind of seep through. I'll come back to it. Then I'm going to take my number 2 cup and my number 2 label, and I'm going to start to pour. Ooh, whoa, something definitely changed in this one. A lot different than just the number 1 cup. I'm going to let that seep down just a little bit. And it's really okay. We're not measuring how much liquid we get out, but But it is kind of nice to try not to spill as much as possible, just so you can see the chemical reaction going on. And then take your number 4 and start to pour. We'll kind of do this in steps. Wow, that one really had a big change in it. And it's definitely not got nearly as much liquid as the other two did. And I'm gonna let that sit for just a minute, let that liquid seep down in. And my number 8. So the 8, make sure they're the same 8, because it will change the experiment if you're not making sure you have the same. This one looks a lot like the number 4. Okay, so that was mostly solid substance. So it's actually becoming more of a solid already than the other two. So number 4, pour a little bit more of that one in. Get all that liquid out. Number 1, wow, that liquid's really running slow. Oh, my sink likes to turn on by itself. And I'm just gonna pour until all the liquid is gone. So you can see this one had a lot more liquid than the other two. And you definitely want to do this over a sink because it's messy. Okay, so I have all of my liquid poured. And if you see, the number 2, if you can look at the liquid that's coming through, it's almost clear. The number 8 looks a lot like the number 2, but it definitely has a lot more solid substance. And the number 1 has very little solid and a lot more, looks more like milk, less like the clear and the number 4. Okay, so now once you've got all of your liquid poured into, you want to take your spoons. This is where you're going to take your spoons and you're going to kind of push the liquid down through to kind of get it to move along. Make sure you get all that liquid pushed through, and then we're going to do one more step to get the liquid out. You don't really need 4 spoons. They have these in here. I'm sure it's to mix to make your plastic activities, because there's a fun thing you can do with this. So I thought this was doubly fun. And it reminds me a lot, I don't know if you've ever made yogurt, but it's a lot like making yogurt. Okay, so the next thing you're gonna wanna do, and I'm gonna start with the number 8. So that has a lot of liquid that came out that you can see. And I'm going to gently make sure I pull this up all the way so that it's not coming through. Okay, and then I want to get my rubber band out of there and set that to the side, and then squeeze that liquid back into the jar. Get as much liquid out of it as you can. Oh, there was a step I forgot to tell you to do. Before you put your cloth down, you should measure it to see. Since all of my cloth is exactly the same size, it should be okay with my measurement. It should be part of the measurement, and it's okay to do that. But if you wanted to get a true measurement of how much solid material that you got out, you would want to measure your cloth before, because I found that it's much easier to measure before you on inside these little pouches. So then I take my scale, and this is a kitchen scale, and I just turn it on, and I want to make sure that it's set to grams. Okay, so it's set to grams. I don't know if you can see that. And it's giving me weight because I picked it up, but it's because it's changing. So I want to get it to 0, and you can actually do that by pushing it. And if you need to change the mode, you can change the mode. So then I want to put my plastic down And that was 53 grams. So then I'm going to measure. I might want to write that down right here. So right here on number 8, I would write down, yes, it formed curd. And I would describe what it looked like. And then I would weigh it in grams. And then I would write my observation down. Okay. I'm not going to have time to go through all of the liquid. It's a good thing because I already did this activity for you. So let me turn it a little bit this way so that you can see what I did with my activity. So remember, our objective was to look and see what we can make out of milk. So what we predicted is that we could make something that would probably be kind of weird out of milk. So my objective that I wanted for you was to see how you can investigate the best recipe. So how much milk plastic can you get? So once you've got that all done and you've measured it and you've looked at it, you can actually just pull it right out of the, I'm going to do this over my sink because it's really messy, but you can pull it out. Maybe I'll do it over here so you can see it a little bit better. I just pulled it right out and put it on a tray so that I could use it. So then after I get all my milk plastic out and measured it all, I want to take whatever I get, and you can actually hold it in your hands and you can mold it. You can make things out of it. It almost feels like plastic. Wow. Pretty cool. All right, you tell me how you think it feels. I think it feels kind of cool. So the next thing I did was I got some of these cookie cutters, and I like the big ones because they're really fun. And I took my milk plastic and I put it inside of and I got as much as I could off. It's kind of hard to get off the cloth. And put it inside of a plastic bag to put food coloring. You could put glitter, you could put anything that you wanted. I'm going to do blue. I think I'll do blue this time. I did purple and green, so I'm going to do blue this time. And I put it inside a plastic bag, and I can mix it up. Once I'm all done mixing it, I can put it in one of my cookie cutter shapes, and I'm going to wait for a couple of days, and then I'm going to have a unicorn or a sun or something fun that I can show people and amaze them, and they'll say, how did you make that? Did you make that out of clay? You can tell them, I made this out of milk. And then they'll ask you what happened, and you can explain, well, at a molecular level, it changed. So this is called a chemical change. So it actually will never be milk again. It is now actual plastic. Okay, Cougars, I hope you had fun doing this activity with me. I still got blue all over my hands. Doesn't matter what you do with food coloring, it gets all over you. I hope you won't get it all over you. Have an adult help you with this one, and let me know what you thought and how did it turn out for you. If you have any questions, you can always come to my Google Hangouts on Mondays and Wednesdays from 1 to 2. And I would love to hear how your activity went for you. Send me pictures. I'll post them on our social media with your parents' permission.